Well, I'm so very excited to have Cassie on with us today and to talk to you about her journey into entrepreneurship. She's had a few different businesses along the way and has gained tons of knowledge, and now she has taken that to others as a business coach and is helping coach others through that so that they can kind of get over that learning curve a whole lot faster. She also has a fantastic um, Facebook group called Christian Women Business Builders. And that's actually where we met. And I'm just so excited that you're here. Welcome, Cassie. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, Stephanie, thanks for having me. Yes, so I am a serial entrepreneur, as I call it. I was one of those, when other kids were playing like Barbies and house, I was playing small business and like charging my brother and sister money to get into my club. So it's just kind of the way God wired me. And through that, I have had the opportunity to have a lot of experience in different business, most of it in brick and mortar, small town USA. So I was an interior designer and ran multiple home decor stores for over a decade. So I had a lot of fun with that. And, kids change things. So baby boy number 3 came along, and I decided that it was time to come home, be mom. And I was a really great stay at home mom for about 3 months before I started to lose my mind. so at that time, I realized, it was I was a little late on the online business bandwagon because my heart was brick and mortar. But when I jumped in with 2 feet and have just really loved it ever since.
I think that's great. And I know when I was in the corporate world, like I was lucky in my son's early years, like early middle school or no, early elementary school, that I got to work from home. And then when my daughter hit that same age, I was not working from home, and I missed it so much. And so I just kind of got on that mental journey in my head of how do I get back home? How do I
How
get
do I
back
get out of
home?
here, right?
How do I get back home? And I struggled because I loved my job, and so I didn't have that like, oh, this is awful. I hate this. I got to get out of here. It was I really love what I'm doing, but I still want to do it for myself and do it at home. So that was that was me where I kind of came from. Um, so you do have an amazing Facebook community, like I mentioned, it's called Christian Women Business Builders, where where you actually team up with other coaches to deliver training weekly and then other events. You've got an event coming up, an actual live event that y'all have planned, and that's just so exciting to watch that happen. And I love how you have partnered with these other coaches. Can you tell me how those partnerships formed?
Yeah, absolutely. So, having come from a personality that felt like I had to do everything myself in my business, I learned really quickly that was not how I wanted to do things when I kind of created my own business, my online business. And so I really call it a Holy Spirit download. I say the Lord just like poured it out, and I've learned I better have a notebook ready and just write it down. So he laid out the entire blueprint, entire plan for Christian women business builders. And from the get go, it was very clear that it was supposed to be an even joint venture, not my group where I have other people, but 7 coaches coming together and each showing up in their own strength. And so from that, I went into what do you need to run a business, right? Like you have to have all the things. I mean, there's so many skill sets you need to have a successful business. So I started making a list of the legal stuff. I don't know about you, but the legal stuff makes my eyes cross. Like it's just, we all put it off because we don't want to deal with it. And then you deal with the repercussions later. so we've got a lawyer in there. Having somebody, the social media and marketing is so huge nowadays. I mean, brick and mortar, online, you got to have it. So we have social media, we have got, I mean, really, there's just so many components. So I made a list out of 7 different fields, and then I just got on and did good old fashioned research. I knew one of the coaches personally. I ended up working with 3 of the others throughout the creation of the business. Our tech gal did the tech for me. We were chatting before. Tech is not my gift. So Tasha actually built out our whole like back end membership. I had one of the ladies do the legal. I was trying to think. I've worked with almost all of them professionally, but it was just getting on there. And I said I felt like a like a sleazy salesman, because I was like, hi, I don't know you, but have I got an opportunity for you? But it was, and the Holy Spirit had gone ahead and each and every one of them and prepared their hearts for something. They didn't know what it looked like, but when they heard it, they're like, that was it. So it was really amazing.
I love how that just came together, and it came together because it wasn't you, right? Because
Yeah, it was
because
not
the
me, and
Holy
I could
Spirit.
not have done it if it was on me. It would not have been good.
Yes, I totally get that. Now, I know you mentioned like there's the membership component of it. There's
Hmm.
that side of it. And I know when I came in, I joined in that membership.
Hmm.
There's that small monthly fee, and there's additional training and stuff available in that, and other opportunities as a
Hmm.
member. And then you have the free component of the
The
community,
public group.
the public group, right? So when you were designing that, and as y'all were pulling that together and discussing what did y'all all want it to look like in the end as well, um, you I know recently did that transition where you're like, no,
Hmm.
we're going to go ahead and do this part public, and this part is going to still be behind the login, kind of
Hmm.
in a membership. What was the thought process behind a lot of that, and the catalyst
So
to make those changes?
yeah, I think that's a great question. I think one of the things I work with my coaching clients through all the time is, as humans, we want to have that big picture, right? We want to be able to see the end. And so many times we cease to take action in the now because we can't fully see that end picture. So from the beginning, I was very honest. I said, to my knowledge, this has not been done. I did a lot of research to try to find another group like this, to try to find another program like this. I was like, oh, well, I'll just see what's out there and make it ours, right? And it didn't exist. So we created it from the ground up, with a lot of prayer, talking with the other gals and kind of saying, how do you see this working? How will this be beneficial to you? So the way we structured it is we wanted it to be affordable, to not the masses, but to the women that the Lord has called us to serve. We wanted it to be an affordable monthly access, and our heart is to promote business, like to promote your businesses. This is none of our dollar making venture. None of us are going to buy a house in the Bahamas off of CWBB. So it had to be women whose heart was, yes, I want to show up, I want to grow my audience, I want to grow my authority, and if I make something off of it, great, but the heart behind it is service and creating that community. So once we got that part clear, that we were all okay, that we're not going to be millionaires off of this group, um, it was easier to structure it. And so we ran it with the membership like you joined for about 3 months. And I keep forgetting it's not even a year old yet. It's really incredible. But for 3 months, we ran it where it's membership only. And around the holidays, I just really felt like the Lord was just kind of refining it. And I was really just digging into that. And I was having a very hard time being like, you're either a part or you're not, right? You're either in or you're out. And from a faith standpoint, it was very much like, the Lord is open to all. Jesus said all can come. And so I had a very hard time saying you had to pay us money to be part of the community. I felt like there was a disconnect there between our messaging and our heart. So I talked to the coaches, prayed over it, and that's when we decided that the reason for the group is community and to support businesses and to allow them to kind of promote and create those relationships. And so by opening the group up, the Facebook group up, we could still build those relationships for free, but then have higher level service. So now with the sponsorship, you get opportunities to promote your business. You get discounts, you get all of the extra parts of the program, but we still get to say all are welcome. So it's the Lord refining and growing. And as business owners, we grow and refine, and we're obedient in the now, and then we're obedient later.
Yeah, the beauty in it is that you can shift and you can change, and and I think for a lot of us as Christians, we want to see that end result. Um, Even because a lot of times we get the download, but it's only the next step, or
It's
maybe
obedience in the
or,
day.
or maybe the next two steps, but it's like
Yep.
I'm not giving you more, because then you'll be focusing on the third and fourth step
Exactly.
instead of
And
that
we
first
don't
one right
know,
now.
we don't know what we don't know. There's no way for us at the beginning to have known, and I'm just, to be honest, a little bit, I won't say I'm tired of memberships, but I wanted our community to be different. I wanted it truly to have a heart of inclusion and growth, not exclusion and exclusivity. So it was just, we had to get to that point to get it started. to be able to realize that we were off a little bit. And I always call it refining. I think so many of us are quick to say we have to pivot or we have to change or we have, like, it's almost like we're doing, it's just the Lord's just showing us more. He's just revealing more of the story.
Yes. It's not necessarily different. It's just it's like 1 degree change. So,
Exactly.
yeah. It's not a total 180.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you and I talked about that the other day, just with what I'm shifting in my business. And I've said pivot, but it's not, because it's really shifting back to where I began.
It's
But
refining.
it's refining, because I've refined over this last year and learned a whole lot, and none of it is going to go to waste, and none of it is now, void. It's not. It's still all very, very much part of my business. It's just how I
Part of your
lead.
story, right?
How I lead is going to be a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You also have your own coaching business separate from the group. How would you describe your ideal client, and how did you decide that that was the type of person you really wanted to work with?
So that was a little bit hard because when you step out and you do your things for the first time, you want to serve everybody, you want to help everybody, and yet again, I am very passionate about helping women in business. Like, I just love. I mean, guys are great, but I feel like there's a lot of resources out there for them. So my heart has always been on women in business, and I really felt like the Lord said, "You are called to take care of my daughters in business." And so I had a season where I had to say, Lord, am I going to fully step into that? Because stepping into serving Christians and only serving females, yet again, who am I saying no to? Could I be a light to somebody that doesn't know you? And he said, absolutely. But for you, you are to serve my daughters in business. So I have refined to using biblical principles to help women of faith really grow profitable businesses. Like, that's my heart. You can have a great business, you can have a successful business, but if you're not bringing home profit at the end of the day, you're going to work yourself into a lather. And I've seen it. I've done it in some of my retail stores. So I say my ideal client is a woman of faith who is looking to grow a wildly successful and profitable business. And we get you there faster.
I know, just through this interview, God's been all in the middle of it. And one of the questions that I like to ask everybody that I interview is, what does it mean to you to let God lead? And you've definitely sprinkled that in throughout, because I know, and I think this is why you and I, like, why I connected with you so much and with your group, is because I can't talk about most of what I'm doing without bringing God into it, because it was his plan. I got a similar download like you did of, this is the plan, and it's group coaching, and this is what it looks like, and this is how you're going to do it. And then I had to go and take the first action, which was learn how to do some of those things, but it's taking that first step. So in your business and life, you demonstrate it, but what does it really mean to you to let God lead?
I've really worked on the last probably 2 years being sensitive to seeking his wisdom and then being obedient in action. I love knowledge. I love wisdom. I love the pursuit of wisdom, but I think it's very hard to always be obedient in what he reveals. So it's been a lot of obedience. And I actually, talking about kind of having that plan, like, that's I love to work women through creating, I call it a better business plan, but it's just a business plan with Christ at the center. Because if you're a believer, you can't separate. You don't have to serve believers. You can serve, whoever. You can serve everybody, but the way you do things, it's going to be different if you truly let Christ lead. So I think just really walking that and not just talking that is probably, the growth factor, and always, I guess, a lifelong growth factor, but specifically in letting God lead, it's seeking his wisdom and then being obedient to follow it.
Yeah, I remember when I decided, I'm leading with that Christ-centered business coach. I'm not going to just, they're going to know from the beginning that how I'm going to approach things.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember people in my circle, my immediate circle, just friends and, family, and sharing that with them, and them saying, well, you're leaving so many people out, and what about the person that doesn't believe in God that you can help? I'm like, well, I can still help them, as long as they're okay that I'm going to talk about God. And I may tell them, well, you should probably pray about that. you know, that it's not going to be separate. I can't. And because similarly, that's what God has put on my heart is to serve the believing women and help them find their God-given gifts and talents and put that
And
into
through that,
practice.
they reach others. Yeah. So, I mean, it
Yeah.
is
Their niche and what God tells them to do and the people he
just
tells them
different.
to serve may not be strictly in the Christian realm. It may be something else,
Mhm.
but we're all given those gifts and those talents, those abilities, and it's not meant for us to hoard them up and just use them for our own good, but it's to share with everybody else and have that impact outside of that.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm so glad that you came on today and shared this. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about, aside from just how to connect with you? Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Let's see. I will say that I am in the process of starting a newer private group for my private coaching. I've ran Abundant Christian Entrepreneurs for about the last 18 months, 2 years. And we are going to be refining and tweaking that group and actually kind of pivoting it into a newer group where it's called and committed. And so it's really those entrepreneurs, Christian entrepreneurs that are called into business and committed to what it takes to be wildly successful. So you can check me out there personally. And then I invite everybody just to check, if you are a female, now that is the one requirement in Christian women business builders, you don't have to be a woman of faith in there. We have women from different walks, but just like you said, Stephanie, our perspective and what we bring to the group is very, very faith-based. So hop in there. It's a great group. We have opportunities to share. Yet again, you can join that group completely free. And if you want to step up and be a sponsor and have the opportunity to promote and all of that, you certainly can. But everybody is welcome.
Thank you so much. I think that's amazing and awesome. I love what you're doing. I love how you've partnered with the other coaches. And I've actually through my business coach, she has brought Tasha in as well as a spiritual coach within our group. And I love that. I got to meet with her earlier this week.
Yeah,
And
Tasha's amazing.
yeah, yeah. And so just I think one of the things that I'm realizing, I guess, come to know, because I've early on I hired a coach and went through some training with that coach, and then I tried to do it a lot on my own, and kind of circled back to, no, I still need somebody that's ahead of me to not pull me, because they can't pull me, but to demonstrate and show me and direct me. And so having a coach that can do that, and not just inspire and cheer you on, but actually challenge you and call you to the carpet when you're not doing what you need to do. I
Well,
think
I
it's
always say
so
when you have
important.
a coach, they can see what you can't yet. And when somebody else can see it, then they can help you get to there. And on your own, like you said, you may get there. It just usually takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You have a little bit more pitfalls along the way. You get stalled a little bit more often. So it's good to have those who, even if they may not be exactly where you want to be, they can see it for you and they can see how it's possible and get you there.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. So how can we connect with you on social media? Where can we find you?
Absolutely. You can find me at Christian Women Business Builders. Our website is set up so that you can join right there and get access to the community for free. So you can check us out online. Social media, if you want to connect with me personally, I do a 20-minute spiel usually in the group on Wednesdays in CWBB, but in Called and Committed Christian Entrepreneurs, it has just opened this week. Actually, I haven't even onboarded my new group in there yet, but I'll be showing up and doing more focused trainings on biblical principles to grow that profit and grow that wealth. So you can check me out there, here, there, and everywhere.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate
I
it.
enjoyed it, Stephanie. Thank you.